How a mother's diet during and after pregnancy can give babies that ultimate boost. Now, today I have a dietitian and certified lactation education counselor, Lauren Maneker, who's going to give us tips on the first 1,000-day period for conception to a child's second birthday. Good morning, Lauren. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. So the first question I got to ask is this. Tell us about the first 1,000 days and why it's so critical to a baby's growth and development.
Absolutely. So the first 1,000 days starts on the day of conception and leads into the child's second birthday. So during that time frame is when the brain grows more rapidly than during any other time in a human's life. And it's dependent on certain nutrients to help develop those building blocks for cognitive abilities, motor skills, social and emotional development. And as parents, we want to set our children up for success. And we could do that starting at day 0 by fueling our bodies and the child's body with the proper nutrition during pregnancy, lactation, and once baby's starting to transition to whole milk and solid foods.
So, Lauren, what are the nutrients that are important during the first 1,000 days?
So the American Academy of Pediatrics has actually identified 14 nutrients that they call the building blocks for early brain development. And I will not be reviewing all 14 for you, but there are some noteworthy ones: protein, zinc, vitamin B12, iodine, and choline, among others. There are 3: vitamin B12, iodine, and choline, that are noteworthy because they can have a time-sensitive impact during this time of development, which means that shortfalls during the first 1,000 days can have lifelong effects on that child's life. And in terms of iodine specifically, more evidence is showing us that most Americans are not consuming the recommended amounts of iodine every day. And specifically when it comes to women between the ages of 15 and 45, some data is showing that around 50% of them are not consuming the recommended amount. So they could be iodine deficient and not even know it.
So why is iodine so important nutritionally during this time?
So iodine supports that structural formation of the brain, and it's necessary for nerve cells to grow, develop, and create connections with one another. The World Health Organization has gone as far as to suggest that iodine deficiency is the most significant cause of preventable brain damage and intellectual delay. So there is some data showing that pregnant people are around 60% maybe iodine deficient, and other data showing us that prenatal vitamins in the United States, not all of them actually contain any iodine. In fact, this data showed that around 40% have 0 iodine. So I am not knocking prenatal vitamins. Everyone still needs to take their prenatal vitamins. But what we need to stop doing is assuming that the prenatal vitamins are giving us everything we need during pregnancy, because that's not always the case. We still need to lean on the foods like dairy milk, that is an excellent source of iodine.
Now, speaking of that, what foods can moms and kids include in their diet to help during the first 1,000 days?
So dairy milk provides 7 of the 14 nutrients that the American Academy of Pediatrics has recognized as those brain developing supporting nutrients. Excellent source of iodine. They can also include things like leafy greens for folate, which is a key nutrient during pregnancy. I am always encouraging people during this entire phase of life to include more oily cold water fish like salmon for those healthy fats. That also supports brain development.
Now, what are some creative ways to include dairy milk in meals and snacks for both mothers and toddlers, especially picky eaters?
Yes, and I have one of those at home, so I'm intimately aware. I'm a big fan of smoothies. I like making a very basic smoothie base with dairy milk, again, for that iodine and those other nutrients. I may add a little bit of vegetables in there, some fruit, some yogurt, just a very basic smoothie. And then I like adding certain nutrients depending on the person's needs. So for someone who may be in their first trimester of pregnancy and they're nauseous, we can add some ginger to it. For those older kids that are drinking smoothies and need some extra healthy fats, we could throw some avocado in there. So I like to mix and match the ingredients with that base, with the dairy milk in that smoothie.
I'm an older kid that loves smoothies too, so yeah.
Me too. Me too. You're in good company here.
Now, where can we go to learn more?
You can go to thousanddays.org and gonnaneedmilk.com.
I've been speaking with Lauren Maneker, dietitian and certified lactation education counselor. Lauren, as always, thank you for joining us on Morning Blend.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.